What's happening? Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay, what is this? Deckard, help me. Some help you are.
Hello ladies and gentlemen and movie lovers of all kind, and welcome back to another Cinema Showdown Sunday. And for today we are going to be doing another movie battle. Now for this week we are going to be doing two of Ridley Scott's two best facing off against one another, and that is 1979's Alien and 1982's Blade Runner. And as always, don't forget to suggest what you would like to see for the next Cinema Showdown Sunday. For the first round we are going to be looking at the characters. Which film boasts the more interesting and of course iconic characters, as both of these movies have become iconic themselves? For Alien, we have the whole crew, as we get to spend a fair amount of time with each and every one of them. Of course, Ripley is the main one, and she's, technically the final girl, but I almost feel like it's robbing her calling her a final girl, as that's usually reserved for, just the final scream queens at the end of a horror movie. Ripley's not like that at all. She's a certified badass, and she takes charge through a lot of this movie. But aside from that, we have Dallas, Ash, Parker, Brett, Kane, and so many others. Switch over to the Blade Runner side, and of course you have Harrison Ford as Deckard, and then Rachel. When you think of Blade Runner, those are typically the two characters you automatically think of. You really don't spend a whole lot of time with a lot of these characters. For the most part, you're spending the majority of the movie with Deckard, but it's primarily Deckard's movie, as he is the Blade Runner in Blade Runner. But you switch over to Alien, and they just have far more memorable characters. These characters, you spend a lot more time with each and every one of them than you do anyone really in Blade Runner. And then, of course, you also have the iconic creature, the Xenomorph. Therefore, I'm going to have to give round one to Alien. Round two is going to go to the visuals, or the overall aesthetic of the movie. For Alien, we don't really have much on the visuals side, as the movie is not super CG heavy. It was 1979, what do you expect? But you do have very ominous looming shots of space, and that honestly is magnificent to me. It's so ominous, it's so dark, and it really goes with the tagline, in space, no one can hear you scream, and it really shows. But then of course you also have the wonderful aesthetic of being inside the ship, both the alien ship and the human ship, and all of that done practically. It looks absolutely fantastic, guys. Switch over to Blade Runner, and this is a completely different tone, as this movie is really visual heavy, and the visuals are amazing. It has this whole neo-noir vibe to it, the costume design is great, and the actual visuals. They did quite a lot in this movie, and it was revolutionary from the visual side, and just that alone right there, that sentence, it was revolutionary. I'm gonna have to give round two for visuals to Blade Runner. Round three is going to be the plot. The plot for Alien is short and simple, and sometimes that can even be more effective. It's a sci-fi horror movie. They're in their hypersleep, they get awoken because a distress signal reaches their ship, they investigate it, the guy gets the face hugger, they start off trying to track down this alien, and then now they're trying to hide and escape from it. Very simple, extremely effective, and intense filmmaking. Head over to Blade Runner, we're in the distant future, well, distant for the time, as it's actually this year, 2019. And Blade Runners are people who are tasked with tracking down replicants who are fake humans, and taking them out, as they are no longer allowed on Earth, as they are only in off-world planets, primarily used for slave labor. Deckard is tasked with hunting down 4 rogue replicants. Not only that, but inside this movie there is so much more. Like I said, existential questions that these characters pose throughout this movie is a big theme. What is it to be real? What is it to exist? Why were they created? The replicants, the reason they came back to Earth is because they want to find their maker. They want to find why they only have a certain amount of time to live. So this movie has much bigger questions, and of course has a much bigger story. It's not very condensed down to the ship, although that's brilliant for what Alien was trying to do. This movie goes bigger, and it really does pay off. So round 3 is going to go to Blade Runner. Round 4 is going to be the villains. On the Blade Runner side, we have the replicants. And of course, the main ones are primarily Roy and Pris, as they do, spoiler, last the longest throughout the movie, and Roy is the one that is standing till the very end. Like I said, they are great characters in the sense that they do pose these existential questions, and I really do enjoy their motives. But then, is there many that can really compete with the Xenomorph? One of the most recognizable creatures of all time, still constantly referenced today. So for me, even though you do get a lot more substance out of the replicants from Blade Runner, you really just can't beat the iconic status of the Xenomorph, so round 4 is going to go to Alien. Now, as always, we have come down to the 2-2 final round, and for round 5, we are going to be looking at these films' lasting effects. For Blade Runner, it definitely takes the cake in the visual field, and that is really where it excels in this round, is the fact that it did so much for visuals for its time. It set the standard so high that after this movie came out, pretty much everyone was trying to play catch up. So really, it did up the game in visual, and I would even argue in storytelling, to a level that we hadn't really seen in Hollywood to this point. Switch over to Alien's side, and Alien has the iconic creature, but I think the main thing that Alien has is it really does have that actual lasting effect. We've had multiple sequels since this movie, multiple prequels, we've had a few crossovers with the 2 AVP movies, then it also spawned novels, comics, and it's referenced all the time. And we are still more than likely going to get more prequels, sequels, or remakes or reboots of this movie. Blade Runner has only had 2 movies to this point, and although both of them are godlike movies, and Alien with its sequels and prequels, kind of in the middle, I would still have to say that if we're looking at the lasting effects, the countless sequels, prequels, spin-offs, different forms of medium, and the fact that Alien is referenced almost daily in the Xenomorph itself, the 5th and final round, and the crown is going to go to Alien. So if you like this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Let me know, who would you pick to win this Cinema Showdown Sunday? Be sure to check me out on social media. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Links will be in the description and at the end of the video. As always, thank you so much for watching, and that's a wrap. The Fast and the Furious franchise versus the Mission Impossible franchise.